We are aware of the pain that has been caused by the character letters that we wrote on behalf of Danny Masterson.
I've been on FBI raids where I've seen things that no person should ever see. I've seen video content of a child that's the same age as mine being raped by an American man that was a sex tourist in Cambodia.
Combs insists he's innocent, but a judge rejected his lawyer's bail proposal because he had concerns that Combs might try to tamper with witnesses.
Ashton Kutcher is being called to testify against Sean Diddy Combs in a new federal case alleging abuse against minors and A-list celebrities like 50 Cent and Tom Hank are speaking out about how Ashton Kutcher and Diddy were involved in illegal sexual acts. Hollywood's worst predators are being exposed for who they really are. Stay with us as we peel back the layers of Ashton Kutcher's latest confession of what he saw at Diddy's parties.
I've been on FBI raids where I've seen things that no person should ever see. I've seen video content of a child that's the same age as mine being raped by an American man that was a sex tourist in Cambodia. And this child was so conditioned by her environment that she thought she was engaging in play. But the right to pursue happiness for so many is stripped away. It's raped. It's abused. It's taken by force, fraud, or coercion. It is sold for the momentary happiness of another.
Sean Diddy Combs and Ashton Kutcher have been friends since the 90s, but with Diddy is currently under investigation for sex trafficking, abuse of minors, racketeering conspiracy, and transportation for prostitution. Ashton has started to distance himself from the disgraced producer. Did Ashton really not know what Diddy was doing, or was Ashton Kutcher actually involved in all the abuse that occurred? More and more tapes are coming out showing Kutcher at Diddy's parties, and if that wasn't enough, there's even footage of Ashton hugging 13-year-old Davy Chase and inviting her to Diddy's after-party. For years, Ashton Kutcher has tried to paint himself as someone who deeply cares about children, and was even involved in helping the FBI, at one point, as the chairman of Thorn, an anti-sex trafficking organization. A deeper look at Ashton's past, however, reveals that Ashton isn't really who we think he is. From his direct involvement with convicted rapist Danny Masterson, to his disturbing comments about wanting to harass Mila Kunis when she was just 14, Ashton's carefully crafted image begins to unravel, exposing a far more troubling reality.
You know what's funny is when she was 14 when we started the show. I was like 19, right?
Right.
And they're like, okay, you guys are going to be making out in this scene. And I'm like thinking like, wait, this is like slightly illegal,
that's
right?
probably your first kiss ever, right?
It was my first kiss. Where's someone bet you made with Danny about our first kiss?
No, it wasn't the first kiss.
No,
It was like a second or third kiss.
It was the first. It was like the first week.
No, it was not the first week.
Whatever. Let me tell you what happened.
No, let me tell you what happened.
No. Okay, so I've never kissed a guy. So I was so. I mean, you know, Ash was attractive, and I was a 14-year-old little girl, and I was extremely scared for my life.
Sure.
And he was very nice about it. He was like, "Oh, don't worry." So I was like, "Okay." Then Danny goes and goes, "Dude, I'll give you $10 if you French kiss her." What would you stick your tongue in my mouth or some?
What? No.
For $10.
You're making it sound like it was like really. Okay, Dan, we had a little side bet going.
Yeah.
Like,
Which was?
It wasn't very
as to whether or not, you're kissing on the show or boyfriend and girlfriend.
Yeah.
You would use tongue, right, Rosie? I mean, you would.
It depends what kind of an actor you are, I guess.
Absolutely, right?
Yeah.
So Danny bets me like $20 that I wouldn't do it, and of course I'm like, yeah, sure. What's the deal? You know?
And then the cops showed up and you got arrested, pretty much.
They should have, but they didn't.
He never did it. And
I so did it.
He claims to this day he did that. I swear.
Mila,
never.
I so did it.
He never did it?
I didn't let him. I think he tried, but I think I kept my mouth so
Yeah. Yeah. You did the old teeth block?
Yes.
Yeah, you didn't let him
do the teeth block.
Yes, he never
You were very
Oh, no, you didn't. You didn't, Ashton. Just admit it.
Dad, I swear.
She's 14. She didn't. You stop it.
She would know that was not the first. You had turned 15 by then.
No, she was 12, but I know it.
There's a big difference. That 1 year makes the whole world change.
All right, then. We're coming up with the guy who has a name that should have been chased for show business. Wilmer Vanderama. I don't even know how to say it. What's the point? Yeah, Danny will be here as well. Don't go away.
Recently, reports have started coming out that Ashton Kutcher is actually preparing to move to Europe to escape a subpoena that would force him to testify against Diddy. Both Kutcher and his wife, Mila Kunis, came out in support of Danny Masterson around the time that Diddy's house was raided, and now they're involved with another pedophile. Is this really just a coincidence?
We are aware of the pain that has been caused by the character letters that we wrote on behalf of Danny Masterson.
We support victims. We have done this historically through our work and will continue to do so in the future.
A couple months ago, Danny's family reached out to us and they asked us to write character letters to represent the person that we knew for 25 years so that the judge could take that into full consideration relative to the sentencing.
The letters were not written to question the legitimacy of the judicial system or the validity of the jury's ruling.
They were intended for the judge to read and not to undermine the testimony of the victims or re-traumatize them in any way. We would never want to do that. And we're sorry if that has taken place.
Our heart goes out to every single person who's ever been a victim of sexual abuse or rape.
Wow, okay, I've got a lot I can't tell. So, I can't tell that one either. I mean, I'm like actually cycling through them. There was one moment, so it's not really a party story, but our relationship was really bizarre. So it started over punked, because he was like, yo,
don't punk
you
me.
can't punk me. And I was like, I don't know what to tell you, everybody's on the table. He's like, not me, I'm off the table. And so that started our conversation. We became fast friends, and we used to just hang out and watch football together.
As we investigate the relationship between Diddy and Ashton Kutcher, it's important to note that there's clear evidence that ties Kutcher to illegal activities that allegedly happened at Diddy's parties. This is something we've already seen in leaked tapes that showed Kevin Hart and Usher at Diddy parties. Allegedly, Kutcher is getting ready to testify against Diddy in return for immunity. Tapes showing celebrities in sexual contact with children have already been handed over to the FBI by Courtney Burgess and Harvey Levine from TMZ. Is Kutcher getting ready to testify because he knows the FBI has him on tape?
Yeah, that's crazy, man. I just heard about that. But you heard about the reports that Ashton Kutcher, he's worried that Diddy might lie on his friends? You heard about that?
But that's what I've been saying. I said, if the federal government wanted somebody more than they want Diddy, if he has some information about some people that they would rather have other than him, he's able to get that information to them. But they gotta want it. They gotta want it. And Ashton Kutcher and him they were real tight. One time, me, him, Ashton Kutcher went to a Nets game and we met Jay-Z there. You know what I'm saying? So they were close, they was cool.
But you think Diddy would do something like that? Lie on other celebrities?
Well, why would it have to be a lie? Because if he get caught in, he gonna be as truthful as possible. You understand? He's gonna give them enough information, whereas that it's gonna make him look like the choir boy. So, Ashton Kutcher, he has a right to be kind of alarmed if he was doing things with Diddy. Remember they used to have that group called the what do they call it? The Brat Pack? With Diddy, him, and a couple other guys was hanging out. Leonardo, one other guy too, I forgot the other guy's name. So, they all might be worried.
For him to come out with that comment, I mean, that is suspect. It sounds like he's worried that Diddy might give up some information.
That's why. That's why he made that statement, to set it up. To set up the atmosphere that, yo, this guy's gonna lie on us. This guy ain't gonna tell the truth on us. But what we know is that wherever Diddy went, His tape recorders went. His camera equipment was working. He was videotaping everything. So they might have that videotape already.
Multiple sources tie Ashton Kutcher to an ongoing federal case, where evidence and testimonies have already been presented to a grand jury. Allegedly, due to the nature of Diddy's crimes, the case is currently being heard in a closed courtroom, and 8 freak-off tapes showing almost a dozen A-list celebrities involved intimately with children have been presented. One of the celebrities that we know is going to be called is Ashton Kutcher.
They'd bring in these people. A lot of these people were also aspiring young artists in the music industry. And then these parties were sponsored by Motown Records CEO, Universal Records CEO. This goes all the way to the top. And so you get these people in compromising situations. The drinks were laced, the videotapes were hot. And then at the end of the day, you wake up the next morning, what did I do? And then they have compromising material on you. And then they can guide your career. They could kill your career, but they got you. And it wasn't just people in the music business. As you said, there were athletes, there were celebrities, there were politicians, people from the royal family. And we were also told by the former bodyguard that Diddy was an FBI informant. So he was a snitch and was feeding information to the feds. And we don't know what that means. We haven't been able to confirm it, but even Little Rod said it's not just like Epstein. It could be worse than Jeffrey Epstein.
Allegedly, Diddy even took turns with other celebrities when it came to abusing minors. And all of it was filmed, so Diddy could use it for blackmail later.
And those statements include descriptions of what the witness says he saw on those tapes. So I asked him about that, and he answered what he could, given the limitations imposed on him after testifying before the grand jury. Out of those 8 videos, 8 celebrities, 6 men and 2 women, how many of those 8 celebrities were close to being underage or potentially underage?
2 males.
2 males. And of those 8 celebrities, how many of them were intoxicated or under the influence of?
This is going to be all speculation. I just want to preface it by he wouldn't know if they were. Right.
Sure.
Appear to
Let me
be,
rephrase it.
Based on, yes.
Understand. Out of the 8 celebrities who were recorded having intimate relations with Sean Combs, how many of them appeared to be either inebriated or intoxicated or under the influence?
All of them. All of them.
Out of those 8, how many appear to be potentially victimized? How many might have been victimizing?
I think all, to be honest, all.
Were victims
They
or
victims.
were perpetrating?
Victims.
They were all 8 were victimized.
Yeah,
meaning
victim.
this was happening to them and they were inebriated.
Right. Not knowing, I guess, how much proof it was in it, what they was doing.
And of those 8, how many seemed to be potentially minors?
2 to 3, possibly 3.
Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find News Nation on your screen. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.
Now, while the federal case against Diddy is currently being heard behind closed doors, almost 36 civil lawsuits are also on their way. Even if Diddy's co-conspirators aren't named in the criminal lawsuits, there's no way they're getting away from the civil cases. The attorney representing most of these cases has already said that they will be naming everyone involved in abuse.
We intend to name people in these lawsuits. We're not going to do it in interviews. We're not going to do it, without doing our due diligence, because obviously, these types of allegations are very hurtful to people if they're not true, and very hurtful, frankly, if they are true. But if they're true, you shouldn't have been in the room and you shouldn't have been participating. So I anticipate that we're going to start filing lawsuits, and it may not be big names at first, but we have a long list of names, and you might imagine in situations like this, that when a victim tells us that this person was in the room or this person participated, we want to do as much due diligence as humanly possible before we file that case, because in the United States, in almost every state, public filings are in fact public. And, you know, when you name somebody in a lawsuit, the press is going to pick it up, and we're aware of that. So we're going to make sure that we dot our I's and cross our T's. And I expect that there will be some people named in these lawsuits that will raise some eyebrows.
Interestingly, a civil lawsuit is what started this nightmare for Diddy in the first place. In November 2023, Cassie filed a lawsuit against Diddy, accusing him of rape, sexual assault, and sex trafficking. The lawsuit detailed a pattern of abuse that allegedly began shortly after they met in 2005, when Cassie was 19 and Diddy was 37. According to Gene Deal, this civil lawsuit led to the U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of New York starting his investigation into Diddy.
The arrest on sexual abuse and racketeering charges of Sean Combs, known alternately as Puffy or Diddy, sent shockwaves through the hip-hop world and is sparking vigorous debates online about who knew what, when, and for how long, and who else might have been involved. Combs insists he's innocent, but a judge rejected his lawyer's bail proposal because he had concerns that Combs might try to tamper with witnesses. Combs' downfall was years in the making and involved the Cassie Ventura, his former girlfriend, and others. According to friend of the show Teray, who has new reporting on what led to the downfall of Diddy, Combs' descent into darkness was due in part to, quote, drugs. It's central to why he's now facing a mountain of serious charges. When Diddy and Cassie were together, he dragged Cassie down into addiction. After she left him, someone said, she went to rehab to get control of her life, which led to a process of healing, not just from the drugs, but from the abuse. From there, she found the courage to speak up. Joining me now is Teray, who, as I mentioned, has been reporting about Diddy on his Substack, Culture Fries, and on his Teray Show podcast. Teray, my friend, talk about more that you learned about what led to Diddy's downfall.
Well, you know, Cassie was recording an album for about 10 years. She made a ton of songs, she made collabs, she had producers. She thought she was actually working on an album. That was ultimately a giant pacifier to keep her happy while Diddy was actually using her for other things, right? For the freak-offs that we're talking about. The album never had a release date. It was never really going to come out. He was just using her for that purpose. So that's part of where you get into racketeering, that there's all these people that he's using in a business context to have her at his beck and call in this other nighttime context. And it's really disgusting, and he really robs her of her spirit and her time that she could have used to become a great artist. And when Kim Porter passes away, and this is from a story that I'm working on for the Substack, it'll come out later this week. When Kim Porter passes, Diddy is so distracted and devastated that Cassie is able to get away from him. She gets pregnant and she gets married, and then she's in a supportive environment. Her parents are around her, her husband, she has friends around her. She goes to rehab, and there she finds her voice to be able to speak up for the person she used to be, right? When she was under his control, because she's not that person anymore. And when she gets to that place in her life, she starts to speak up, because there's so many people who wanted to speak out against him and were afraid. And when she finds the courage to speak up about her truth, then others are able to come forward, and then it all falls apart for him.
You know, racketeering implies that there are more than one person involved, though. Is there, and that is the question a lot of people are asking, is who else is involved in this?
There are other people within Diddy's operation who we can point to as playing a major role as far as security, as far as procuring things, as far as getting people into his orbit. I would imagine that many of those people are currently talking to federal law enforcement, trying to save themselves from going to prison. Others are sitting there nervous. Not everyone is talking, but surely some of them are. So, I mean, there's a lot of people lining up to tell the story, but I think a lot of the evidence is going to come from what Sean himself videotaped, right? That's going to be the thing. People think that's the thing that will get him out. No, he's not going to be able to say, this famous person came to my party and did something bad. Let's knock a year off. No, that's not how it goes.
No.
Diddy had a habit of obtaining leverage on people he could use, and allegedly that's how he survived for so long. Everyone that was connected to Diddy but isn't speaking out right now is silent only for one reason, and that's because they're worried that they might be on the tapes. According to Gene Deal Diddy's ex-bodyguard, these people know they're on the tapes and what they did. They're not going to speak until they're called to testify.
Why haven't anybody came out defending Diddy? all these celebrity friends he have and nobody came out.
They brand. It's all about the money. They saw what he did to Cassie. With the kicking, the punching. They saw what they did to Cassie. They know that nobody in America liked that. So now, these people are represented by a brand. Whether it's something about the music, clothing, movies. They're not gonna come out and speak on nothing that has anything to do with them. And they praying that they not on the tape doing crazy stuff, being oiled up in the whole 9 yards. They praying. So until the feds say, hey, yo, listen here. We got you on, hey buddy, we got you on this tape, and girl looked like she was pretty young. We're not gonna show it, but we need you to come and testify against Brother Love, P. Diddy, Puff Daddy, you know, Sean Combs. That's when they're gonna start talking. And they're not gonna be talking in his favor. When the feds come to them and show them what they got on tape, because if he had 250 tapes all over, 250 cameras all over the house, somebody got caught stealing a cookie out the cookie jar. It could be your favorite pastor. It could be your favorite politician. But they didn't think they was being watched. And Brother Love was watching.
Yeah, I mean, TD Jakes, he haven't even came out and said anything. And him and Diddy was real cool.
Amen. Amen. Yeah, man. And I know the people in the congregation over there is shaking in their boots because this man didn't lead them probably, allegedly probably led them to damnation, because those people's hearts are gonna be broken if that man is seen on those tapes doing anything. Because people always put their faith in the pastor instead of putting their faith in God. And what they need to do is understand that he's just a man. And he has a history. It's not looking too good for him.
So you feel like celebs are worried that they might be on tape?
Oh, they know. That's why they ain't speaking up or saying nothing. Yeah, I was at a Diddy party, but I know I ain't do nothing. When you don't know somebody's taping you, when you don't know that somebody is videoing you in some kind of form or fashion, you got that alcohol, you got the in you, they're a little loose, bruh. They let down all their inhibitions. The music is pumping. He said it himself. He got it so hot in there that you gotta take your clothes off. He said that himself, bruh. So a lot of them, what he said? I think a lot of them was being swallowed. Have you ever been swallowed? They tell off on themselves all the time, man. You just gotta listen.
But why do you think Diddy had all them hidden cameras?
Bro, when you that powerful, you didn't get that powerful without having 1 or 2 or maybe 3 ups on somebody. Diddy always been the type of individual that want to have ups on the next person no matter what they was doing. Like, he always played artists against each other. He did it to Big, he did it to Craig Mack. You understand? I said before, he did the stuff to Ja Rule, you know what I'm saying? So had the ups on Ja Rule so he could go after Jay-Z. You understand what I'm saying? So he always played those kind of up games on people. So to have those cameras and know what he was doing, it's gonna give him the ups on everybody who came to that party. Even your favorite basketball player. Ain't no party like a Diddy party. We know who said that. He may be one of the persons who got caught up in the Diddy party.
The people around Diddy are just as guilty as him. Diddy allegedly paid his bodyguards to people too. This is something that has only come out recently. One of Diddy's alleged victims, Thalia Graves, has come forward publicly.
The latest woman to speak out against music mogul Sean Diddy Combs is from Harris County.
Yeah, our Reka Mudaraj is here with more on the lawsuit that was filed yesterday. Reka?
Len and Mia, these are the latest accusations against Sean Combs, and it comes about a week after Combs was indicted on federal charges alleging he used his business empire as a criminal enterprise. Now, yesterday, high-powered attorney Gloria Allred appeared with her client. This is Thalia Graves, a Harris County resident who filed a lawsuit against Combs in New York. We are using her name because she has gone public with her claims. Now, in the lawsuit, Graves alleges back in 2001, when she was 25 years old, Combs and his head of security lured her into a meeting at a New York City recording studio where they gave her a drink that caused her to briefly lose consciousness. When she woke up, Graves says she was bound and restrained and was violently raped by Combs. The lawsuit filed Tuesday also claims the alleged was recorded and that the video was shown to multiple other men. Graves says she also faced multiple threats that made her stay silent for decades.
The violation I have experienced during the assault has had lasting effects on my body, causing ongoing health problems and complications. The combination of physical and emotional pain has created a cycle of suffering from which it is so hard to break free. I want to continue on this journey towards recovery and healing. I'm glad that he is locked up, but that's a temporary feeling of relief.
54-year-old Combs is in jail facing federal charges, including sex trafficking, racketeering, conspiracy, and transportation to engage in prostitution. He was denied bail twice after pleading not guilty.
As the disturbing allegations against Sean Diddy Combs continue to unravel, the involvement of high-profile figures like Ashton Kutcher raises even more questions about Hollywood's darkest secrets. With reports of tapes, testimonies, and legal battles looming, it's clear that this case could expose a web of power, privilege, and that spans decades. Stay tuned as we uncover more about Ashton Kutcher's connection to Diddy's parties and the shocking truths that are finally coming to light.